Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green, manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys. Today taking on Stoke City. Apparently Stoke has been relegated in FIFA 16. It's a curious matchup for us because in real life, AFC Wimbledon, one of AFC Wimbledon's players, Ryan Sweeney, I believe his name is, has just left potentially for Stoke. There's still some negotiations going on, but that would obviously be great for Mr. Sweeney, a young man. He's only 19 years old, getting to play for a Premier League club. Also would be great for Wimbledon because it would show that members of AFC Wimbledon's academy can go on to play in the Premier League. Oh my God, look at that beautiful DFTBA Nerdfighteria logo on the back of Eastman's shorts. I like Eastman because his beard and his hair are the exact same color and also the exact same like coarseness and consistency, so it appears that he just has like kind of head hair on his face, and I enjoy that about him. So he scores from the west and he scores from the east. All right, so today I'm going to talk about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. No spoilers. No spoilers. I will not be discussing anything spoilers. But a few people have asked in comments over the years how I feel about J.K. Rowling talking about the world outside her books, which I very pointedly try extremely hard not to do. I don't always succeed, but I try not to do it. And J.K. Rowling feels very comfortable doing that. For instance, by saying the most famous example of this, and I don't think that this is a spoiler because it's not in any of the novels, or maybe it is, but it's not in the novels in an unambiguous way, is that the character of Dumbledore, who's sort of Harry Potter's mentor at his school Hogwarts, that the character of Dumbledore is gay. That's never explicitly stated in the novels, but it's considered canon by most readers because J.K. Rowling said it's true, and J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter. Now, my long-standing argument is that books belong to their readers, not to their authors. That was kind of good. Oh! I feel the exact same way that your face looks in that moment. Just the opportunity. Oh, boy. So I struggle with this because I think it's a little bit different in a series than in one book. But I've always felt like, for instance, people ask me what happens to some of the characters at the ends, after the ends of the novels that I've written. Like, well, what happens to... I'm worried about spoiling something in a video with no spoilers, so I'm just not going to name anybody. But what happens to character X or character Y after the end of the events of the novel? Oh! Get there, Ginger Harry with the back heel. It almost worked. Didn't work, though. Man, we are not scoring goals these days. So I don't feel like I can comment on that, because if a book belongs to its reader, then the opinion of the author on events outside the book should not be privileged over the opinion of any other reader. But it inevitably will be, right? Like if a random reader of Harry Potter announced that Dumbledore was gay, it wouldn't have been a news story. Nobody would have been like, Dumbledore is gay now. They would have been like, well, one reader, in fact, there were many readers who kind of picked up on what J.K. Rowling was trying to do. And so, there were lots of readers who were like, I think Dumbledore's gay. And no one gave it that much credence until J.K. Rowling came out and said it herself. I think that speaks to the power of the author's voice when it comes to a novel among contemporary readers. That inevitably, and this is definitely true for my books, like the author becomes a character in the novel, and I used to believe that the author is not inside the novel, and readers shouldn't read it that way, but that's just not realistic. We live in a very personality-driven culture, and even an author who tries to disappear, J.D. Salinger, probably the most famous example, but there are lots of other examples of authors who just try not to be present inside their... Get there! It's gotta be! And finally, it's a hot slice of Dicko. Dick, oh 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 dick, oh. I think they're filming Crash Course Human Geographies downstairs, so I'm not going as loud as I could, because I don't like to get criticized from the Crash Course people about my dicko singing. Dick, oh dick, oh dick, oh dick, oh dick, oh just scored a goal. And what a beautiful goal it was. The kids had a great season. 5 goals this season is like 30 goals any other season. He's responsible for 92% of our offensive output. So I think that I don't think an author can disappear from a novel, right? Because like even Salinger, when you read Catcher in the Rye, a lot of readers know who's about Salinger. They know that he became not really reclusive, but he maybe has that reputation for having been reclusive. They know that he didn't want to have a public life. They know he didn't keep publishing, etc., etc. Huck and Fen, what? Just not fast enough to get on the end of that cross. And so the character of the author appears in sort of the margins of the novel no matter what, and that's certainly the case for me because a lot of people know about the work I do outside of writing books, you know, most notably sponsoring AFC Wimbledon, but I also do other stuff. And there's no getting around that, and I think any attempts to ignore that are a little bit naive. So I think an author is going to be a character inside the world of inside the world of a fiction, like with very few exceptions. I mean, I do think there are some pseudonymous authors who manage to sort of disappear. Elena Ferrante, am I saying her name right? Is an interesting. Oh God. Oh wow. That somehow did not go in. Shia LaBeouf put a force field around the goal for that one. Yeah. So there are some authors who, by virtue of having a pseudonym, can sort of disappear. But even then, you sit there reading and wondering who they are. You know, like I think it's just very hard to get around. Speaking of hard to get around, how about that Stoke defense? And then it's a goal! It's a goal from the Golden Child! Oh, little town of Bethlehem, a golden child unto you is born. I don't have a great Christmas carol for him yet, but I'm working on it. Oh God, he went near post. It's beautiful. It's 2-0. The Golden Child's having himself a good season, Meredith. Oh wait, that wasn't the Golden Child. Was it? Or was it? Reevesy? Are you sure? Yeah, we're not totally sure that's the Golden Child. Is Reevesy the Golden Child? I don't know. He's tiny. We're going to say he is. He's having a great season, Reevesy. Just signed a new long-term contract with AFC Wimbledon, too. Yeah, so I don't think there's any way of getting around the problem of being inside of your novel. And then I think authors have a variety of ways of dealing with that. And I don't like labor under the delusion that my way is the only way or the best way. Like I might be wrong about this stuff, and I also think that it's different for different stories. So I think that people treat what J.K. Rowling says about the world outside of the novels as canon, in part because the world is so big, and it doesn't just include, in the end, like it doesn't just include the books even, you know? I mean, there's the Hogwarts experience at Universal Studios or whatever. There's you know, like the Lego video game Harry Potter. You know, it's such a big world. It's very different from most novels, and so I think it's in a way it's more like Star Wars, where like the size of the canon itself is so huge, the scope is so big that it has to fall to someone to decide what's inside and what's outside, so that there can be some basic rules for the universe. And, you know, George Lucas or J.K. Rowling is a pretty good person to have that fall to. And so I think it's a little bit different. That said, like, I guess I guess like what I want is I don't want the reader to lose control over the the novels. And I feel like that's true even with this play, which I thought was very good, by the way, and like brought me incredible joy because it's more get there. Oh my gosh, that was great job though, Dicko. I'm very proud of you. You notice that Dicko's kind of scruffed up his DFTBA Nerdfighteria crest because of his constant slide tackling. I'm very proud of him. All right, come on. Let's try to get Akinfenwa a goal. He needs to get back in this game. It's just, not great. But I feel like Cursed Child, and this is not a spoiler, I don't think, did a good job of that's Ginger Harry. Oh, I was already singing, and it's in off. It goes out off the post. Ginger Harry. I had already begun to extol the fact that he has a soul, but alas, and alack. I felt like it didn't affect my relationship with the novels, which was really important to me. It didn't make me like the novels any more or less, and I thought that was kind of what was the problem there. All I did was run into the goalkeeper. Come on. Oh, was I offside a little bit? I apologize. I felt like I emerged from it really happy. It felt like I know that, like, I guess J.K. Rowling didn't write a lot of the dialogue of the play. I have to sneeze. Oh boy. Feels like it's not over. You know how sometimes you sneeze and you're just like, oh man, I'm only halfway there. That's how I feel. But it still felt very much like a Harry Potter experience to me, if that makes sense. And that made me extremely happy. That was what I guess I wanted most. And while still allowing me to have the books as the books. So it's pretty magical to me. There's nothing like Harry Potter in my life in terms of the effect that it's had on me as a reader, as a writer, in terms of my publishing career, everything. The only thing like it maybe is Adebayo Akinfenwa. What a beautiful goal. And a nice job there, I believe, by the Golden Child. Or maybe that's Riggsy. I don't know. But it was a really good job knowing that Akinfenwa was the better finisher. Also knowing that Akinfenwa needed a goal to recover from the red card he had a few games ago. And then that's a vintage Adebayo Akinfenwa finish that reminds me that he's big, he's round, he's worth 10 million pounds. Akinfenwa. Beautiful. Only 3 goals in the championship this season, but he's working very hard. His hold-up play is excellent, etc. So with the last kick of the ball, Akinfenwa secures a 3-0 victory for the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys. John is very happy with the Cursed Child, understands that he is a character in his own books, but still refuses to comment on the world outside of them. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.